Hi and welcome to the demo lesson about the difference between stateful and stateless pipeline. So in the theory lesson you learned that stateful processing involves an extra component which is called state store, and in this demo I would like to show you I think a simple difference between a stateless and stateful job with Apache Spark structured streaming. So here I have my stateless job. So the job that simply takes data as it coming and writes it to some other thing. In my case, it will be a console. So let me just run the code. And as you can see, it's just a job that takes data in and puts data out. So there is nothing like buffering involved. We have just some filter applied on the event numbers, and yeah, we print them only in the console. So now when I take a look at the checkpoint location, you can see that I have three, I would say, subdirectory, three places that which store only the metadata about the data source. So just to show you maybe the precise example, we check the offsets. Okay, maybe 3. So we can see that we have the offset that is stored for our data source. Now, what about the stateful processing? Here, the logic is a little bit different. We have the same data source, but this time we add an extra column to label to add kind of label that we are going to use later in the group by expression, and on top of these groups we apply the count, and the count is the aggregation result that we want to be incremental. We don't want just to count the number of groups per micro batch. In that case we would probably call for each batch sync and apply this grouping and counting on top of a data at rest data frame. Here we are dealing with the streaming data frame, so we are considering it as a data set composed of continuously flowing events, and this count as a consequence of that should be incremental, should be increasing whenever we get a new data for each label. So the output is the same, and just after running the code I will show you the difference in the checkpoint location. So because I think you already see the difference in there with this count, but now when we take a look at this checkpoint location for the stateful processing, so we can see that we have a subdirectory which is called state. And in this state, we get one sublocation per shuffle partition, and inside that sublocation we have each state updated. So if in this version we are getting the updates for both even and odd numbers, but if we get only the updates for either event or odd labels, we would retrieve only these updated entries in these delta files. Unfortunately, I cannot show you these delta files because they are binary, they are compressed, but yeah, believe me that it stores all the updated states in given microbatch. And also, if you analyze the query plan, you will see that there is a state store save operation and state store restore operation. So I think the names are quite self-explanatory. State store restore loads the state for given key, whereas the state store save saves it for the next microbatch, so that we can have this kind of incremental counter implemented. And that's generally all for this. Besides these query plan details, you also have some stats that are available for the state rows if you use a stateful operation. So here you can see that I have only 2 records because I have only 2 labels. Typically on production, on more real world examples, you will have much more data in there. So I will just stop the job right now, and thanks for watching. See you in the next lesson about stateful processing.